Good morning and welcome to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis, and along with Trent Haston, President and CEO of the Roby Family of companies, we're your hosts. Thanks for spending your Sunday morning with us. Whether you're in the car or on the couch, you're always at home with Roby. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, R-O-B-Y.com. So Trent, today it's middle of July. We're going to talk a little bit about the real estate market. It's a hot market right now in Charlotte. It's not always been like that. You've been in the construction, home building industry for your whole life practically, given the fact that your father and grandfather both were part of the Andrew Roby family of companies. You've seen quite a bit and seen all the ups and downs in the Charlotte market.
Yeah, no, I have. I born in the 70s. I've told the story on the radio. I think a lot of you had heard me tell the story about when I came into the business. The construction business is what we were.
Right.
In the early 2000s, I was very optimistic, and my dad would give me a hard time. He'd say you'll never live through the 70s. And I mean, to go along with that story, I don't know if I've ever told this on the radio, but I remember as a kid, or when I started thinking about real estate and thinking about properties. Let me tell you, growing up in my household and in the Roby family, so to speak, there was no stocks and bonds and anything like that. When you save money, you went and bought real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you did. That's all I knew. And you put 20% down, and until you had 20%, you weren't a flea on a rock. But I remember riding down Wilkinson Boulevard with my dad when I was about 18, and he pointed over, I think it was like 40 acres. I think I know the piece of property. Headed out to the house. We lived out on Lake Wiley, and he said I could have bought that. He said I could have bought that piece of property for $50,000, and I said, well, why didn't you? Like he was crazy.
Right.
And he looked at me. He said, boy, you know how much overtime I'd have to work for Mr. Roby, how much drywall I'd have to hang. He said it'd take me 2 years, and back in 78, 79, $50,000 is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So I just think that's pretty cool for people today to hear how that generation, which I'm so grateful that I grew up under a mentor who embodied the virtues of that generation, but to hear what that generation thought.
Yeah, I tell you, my grandfather was a cattle farmer down in South Carolina, and he always told me
I've always wanted to be a cattle farmer.
Well, I could help you out with that. We still have some land down there if you want to.
Yeah,
my brother has some cows.
I don't know if I really want to be a cattle farmer, but I've always thought it would be cool.
You should go down there, take a picture, and leave, and then you can tell everybody you're a cattle farmer.
What they say? How to make $1 million in cattle farming? Start with $2 million. Right.
He always told me though. He said, I asked him about what to do with my money. He said, buy land. It's the only thing they're not making more of.
Yeah, I agree with that. But when you got to pay taxes,
believe me,
and insurance, I know I do, and I'm really, like I said, all my early investments when I started making a living and would get a little bonus, I mean everything went back into real estate and back into land, and now I have that part of my portfolio. I think it's pretty much well taken care of.
Yeah. I'll tell you another funny story about my granddad. There was a golf course. He lived down in Saluda, South Carolina. Great little golf course called Persimmon Hill. It's about 40 minutes in Johnson, about 40 minutes from Augusta. So a lot of the guys from Augusta would come up during the Masters and play there. You see white Cadillacs everywhere. But he had a chance to buy that. He had a chance to buy the land with the guys that built the golf course. And they called him, and he was going to buy it. And then when he found out what they were doing with it, he said, I don't need to buy land I can't put cows on. I don't want anything to do with a golf course. I always thought, man, old Grandpa's, I could own the golf course.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. My dad. I mean, we're good friends with the Cadu family. Joe Cadu's always been our number one tree expert, and he's an old school real estate hustler. I love Joe. My dad always told me, I mean, Joe's yard and shop, you used to see the stumps and the big pieces of 200-year-old oak trees was on the corner of Remount and 77. And Joe came to my dad and my granddad and asked them, I think it was in the 80s, has said, hey, go in with me on this. I think it's good. And they said, man, are you crazy? We're not buying that. And then I think about 5 years later, we bought our first shop, was off of Remount Road about 2 blocks away.
Right.
And somehow Golden Horseshoe Joe sold that to the city and did pretty good on the deal. I mean, he always finds a way to do pretty good on the deal. So
I tell you, Charlotte has changed. You're listening to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis along with Trent Haston. You can find out more about the Roby family of companies at andrewroby.com. Trent, you talked about land and real estate. You look at places like Ballantyne. We talked last week about Cheval and what's going on out in Mint Hill, and the city has just continued to expand and to grow. And some of these places where you never would have thought you should have bought land, it's a great real estate deal.
Well, yeah, another thing my dad used to talk about is, as we saw, I've seen Ballantyne grow. I've seen 485 grow. What made Ballantyne so successful is that they put the exit. I think it was the Ray Road, or not Ray Road, Johnston Road exit.
Park Road
was put right through the center of Ballantyne, and without access, I don't think Ballantyne would have ever been what it is. So that's number one key in real estate, guys, is access, in and out,
and location.
I mean, that's access, right? Location, location.
Speaking of real estate, we launched back in April Roby Realty, which is the newest member of the Roby family of companies. You can find out about Roby Realty at robyhome.com, or you can call us today at 704-248-3551. Trent, that Roby Realty is really an extension of everything you guys have built and your grandfather and father built before you with the Roby family of companies.
No, I agree. And we've always, we do a lot of commercial because of a lot of our clients and a lot of our relationships lead to commercial, and the senior living component is a very residential in feel. But at the epicenter of what we've always done in the construction side is the real estate side, and we advised, and like I said, we were always working with realtors, and they didn't have the relationship with our clients, and we were giving real estate advice, as a contractor. So now we're giving real estate advice as a real estate
company. Oh, that's right.
A first-class real estate firm, I would say.
All right, totally first class. Trent, we're going to take a break now, but when we come back, we'll go a little more in-depth and discuss all the ways that Roby Realty can help our listeners with their home ownership needs. You're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. We'll be right back.